Hello, David Duchovny. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Where are you calling me from today?
New York.
Out in New York. So you're a couple hours ahead of us, huh?
I don't know. Where are you?
Minnesota.
Yep. I guess I am.
All right. Well, David Duchovny joining me on the afternoon mix. And I mean, you do a whole bunch of characters. We're going to jump right into this thing. People want to hear from you. And whether you know him as FBI agent Fox Mulder on the X-Files or even the womanizing novelist Hank Moody, earlier this year, you got a couple things from earlier this year. One, you released your first book, a New York Times bestseller, Holy Cow.
Yeah.
And that thing jumped right to the New York Times bestseller. How'd you come to write a book?
It was an idea that I had quite a while ago, which I thought it was an animated feature. It just an idea came to me. I was driving in LA, and I thought, if I were a cow, I'd probably try to get to India. So it struck me as funny, and then I thought, well, what other animals are there that might want to get away? Well, a pig might try to get to Israel, go to the kosher land, not get eaten there. And a turkey might think that turkey was named after him, and therefore he'd be very popular there, but not eaten. So I had my three heroes, and I kind of worked it up as a pitch for an animated film, and I took it over to the only couple places you can take something like that, like Disney, Pixar.
Right.
And I knew that it was a long shot because it had some adult themes. For instance, like the pig converts to Judaism and gets circumcised before he tries to go to Israel and things like this. So to me, it struck me as funny, but it was probably too adult. And they passed, and that was it. I put it away forever. And then a couple of years ago, I just woke up one morning and I was like, I wonder what that story was, because I never really wrote it out. I was like, I wonder what it was. Maybe I'll just write it as a short novel. Because I've been wanting to write a novel. It's like, maybe maybe if it's a fable like that, I'll feel kind of free and not feel like I've got to write the great American novel like first time out.
Right. Have some fun with it. And it sounds like it is a fun book. I haven't read it personally yet, but just hearing you talk about it sounds like something I'd probably enjoy.
Yeah, it's funny, it's fun, and, hopefully it's smart.
It's something maybe I'll have to look into, but let's talk about the real reason why you're calling me today from New York. You've got a brand new album out, and it's called Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
And this is your first album.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you're such a successful actor. Why music now? And you're a successful author now, too. So what brought you to music?
It's just something I started doing about 5 years ago. I started playing guitar, and I was teaching myself. And I was teaching myself by learning songs that I loved, growing up, and mostly classic rock stuff. Beatles, Stones, Dylan, Petty, R.E.M. And I don't know. I just thought, well, okay, these chord structures are not that, they're repeating a lot. I see a lot of patterns, and it's really all about the melody and the lyrics,
Right.
The patterns are kind of set, and whatever blues scale and all that. And I thought, wow, maybe I can come up with a melody. I don't know. Why not? So I started fooling around with some chord structures and some melody, and, trying to hear melodies over them. And I did. And then putting words on the melodies was probably easier for me than all the other stuff because I'm a writer. And it was just a matter of, I was just, I want to record these with a buddy of mine, Keaton Simons, who helped me out. He's a great player, and he could. My guitar is, I'm really a bad guitar player, and he could play well enough to record them in his garage, and that was nice. And I had them on my phone. I was like, hey, I've done a couple songs, and don't ever want to share them with anybody outside of my immediate circle. And then Brad Davidson at Think Say Records heard them and met me, and he was like, no, man, this is an album. This is an album. I was like, no way, and I can't sing. And he said, well, work on your voice. So I just kind of worked hard on singing, and eventually got to a point last December where we recorded an album, and I really like the sound. I can't believe that it kind of originated with me. I just can't believe that we did it, and I had a hell of a lot of help along the way.
And you were just talking about how you really worked on your singing. Did that mean you took a lot of voice classes, singing classes, or how did you work on it?
There's a guy in New York named Don Lawrence who I was just very, very lucky to be steered towards. And, sometimes you're just lucky when you meet the right teacher. You know, it's all about that often, I think, with the arts, with music especially.
Sure.
And he just spoke to me in a way that I understood about voice and about singing, and, you know, just made it clear to me that it's something you got to do every day. It's a muscle, and you'll get better. You just got to put in the time. And I have. I sing every day.
Did you, before you recorded the album, did you work on your voice for a couple of years, or was it just, you know, you already had some decent pipes, you just had to kind of perfect it?
No, terrible singer, terrible. No, I'm never was a singer. The idea that I sang on the Today Show live in front of however many millions of people is still staggering to me that I did it. Because if you'd asked me 5 years ago, my greatest fear, my greatest nightmare would be to have to sing in front of 5 people.
And now you're doing it in front of millions, and you made an album. The album, again, called Hell or High Water. You can grab that on iTunes and Amazon. And you just mentioned a little bit ago, too, that you're a fan of Petty and the Stones and R.E.M. Do they have any kind of influence on this album?
Well, they must, because it's the kind of music that I like. But I don't know. It's more, I think, for people listening to it to figure out what the influence are, because I didn't really consciously go about trying to sound like anybody.
Sure, you're trying.
I have the voice that I have, so I'm going to sound like that. And I think that I didn't really think so much about that or trying to imitate anybody.
You were just trying to be you, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Hell or High Water. Yeah, and you wrote all the songs on this album, right? Or you at least had a hand in it?
No, I wrote all the songs.
You wrote all the songs on the 12 tracks on Hell or High Water. Does any one of the 12 stand out more to you? Like you have more of a connection with than the other?
You know, it kind of rotates in a way. They're all very personal, and they're all songs that I hope are meaningful to other people. You know, I don't have any interest in doing any kind of confessional or autobiographical work. It's really, to me, the more personal you can make your song, the more universal it can be, because everybody has a person inside them, you know what I mean? So they can relate to specifics. They can relate to real, you know. They can relate to
your story.
Right, right. And it's a story, you know, it's a story told through the lens of music, really. And I think because the songs are stories in that way, I'll have days when I'll enjoy singing some more than others, and then it kind of rotates. But I think Hell or High Water, you know, I think it's a single for a reason. I think it's a strong song there.
And I actually have Hell or High Water. We're going to play that for you in just a little bit on Mix 94.9. And the Hell or High Water, the first single, it's also the title track. Again, Hell or High Water, you can get on iTunes or Amazon. And are you planning any kind of tour or anything like that to get out and sing live, or not quite there?
Well, I've done a couple of gigs. I did one up in Boston. I did one in New York last week, and I really enjoyed that. Those were my first concerts, really, you know, good 90-minute sets, a real set.
Have you ever been to Minnesota?
Minnesota, well, I'm going to go shoot the XFiles in June, and then I'll be done probably mid-August, and then we're talking about putting together a little tour in the fall. So
excellent.
Hopefully I'll be all over the place. So that'd be great.
Hope to bring you around. We'd love to see you here.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned the X-Files. Do you mind if we talk TV for just a minute?
No, go ahead.
Because you got some big things coming up. Next week, you're back on TV. Thursday night, May 28th, NBC. You star in the new limited series, Aquarius. You're playing Detective Sam Hodiak. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And he's trying to hunt down Charles Manson.
Well, this story starts in 1967, which is 2 years before the Tate LaBianca murders, and I'm a homicide detective in L.A., and an old girlfriend of mine who's married to a lawyer who is running the Reagan for governor campaign. Their daughter, a 15-year-old girl, has disappeared or run away, and she comes to me, the mom, because they're afraid that it'll be an embarrassment to, you know, getting Reagan nominated, that this high-level guy's got a runaway daughter, and can you find her, you know, off the books quickly before anybody finds out? And I say sure, because I still actually am in love with this woman. And I tracked down the daughter to the desert right outside of L.A., where she's living on a hippie commune with a guy named Charlie Manson. And this is 1967. So Manson is just basically a con man and a pimp and a check forger and a low-level criminal. So that's where it starts.
The name of the new series is Aquarius. It gets started next Thursday night, May 28th, NBC, 8 o'clock Minnesota time.
Yeah.
And it's a limited series. Does that mean we're only going to see 10, 12 episodes?
There's going to be 13 this year, and we are perfectly willing and wanting to come back and do multiple years of it, but in 13-episode installments.
And then you mentioned it. I've got to ask about it. The XFiles. People are already going crazy because you're coming back in 2016 after 13 years of being off the air to do 6 episodes.
Right. Yeah, we're back.
13 years. How'd that feel when I'm guessing you've gotten the script already?
I have 1 script out of 6.
How'd that feel coming back to you to read that part again as Fox Mulder?
It was emotional to see the names on the script again, to see Mulder and Scully engaging in a dialogue. It was unexpectedly to me. I was moved because it was such a long part of my life, almost a decade, and such an important work for me to have done in terms of my life, my career, and everything.
Sure. I'm sure people still, they see you walking and they just yell, "Hey, Fox," or "Hey, Mulder."
They do sometimes. They yell a bunch of things. That's probably half the time they yell that.
One of the nicer things they're yelling at you. No, but that's coming back in 2016 is a 6-episode miniseries. You have Aquarius next Thursday, 8 o'clock our time on NBC, and the brand new album, Hell or High Water. You can grab it on iTunes and Amazon. David Duchovny, thank you very much for calling in this afternoon.
All right. Bye.
Take care.